Today I'm on the Bayliner 285. It's the largest single-engine cruiser in the Bayliner lineup. Bayliner tells us that they've made this boat for the customer that wants to keep the price of his cruiser down and not complicate things with twins. I'm going to take it on a full test and review and see how they've done. For Botenkeuze.com, I'm Captain Steve.
Now, since this is an all-new boat, Bayliner made a couple of key changes for this model year. First, they moved the salon's aft bulkhead forward, which added more room to the cockpit. A few minor changes to the hull configuration gives us a loss of 2.5 inches on the overall length and an increase of 1 inch to the beam. Fuel capacity has dropped 13 gallons and the draft increased 2 inches. The displacement of the new boat is 601 pounds more than the model it replaces. The Bayliner 285 has a length overall of 28 feet 6.5 inches and a beam of 9 feet 11 inches. She also has a draft of 3 feet 3 inches. With full fuel and 2 persons on board, we had a test weight of 8,751 pounds. The 300-horse catalyzed 350 Mag Merc cruiser engine pushed us to a top speed of 38.6 miles an hour at 5120 RPM. That translates to 22.9 gallons per hour, 1.7 miles per gallon, and a range of 135 miles. Dial back to a more economical cruise of 4,000 RPM, and we were at 27.1 miles per hour, while burning 12.1 gallons per hour or 2.24 miles per gallon. That leaves us a range of 179 miles. Her time to plane is 7 seconds, and her 0 to 30 time is 16.4 seconds.
Now when we're running normally, the bow's about 7 to 8 degrees bow high, and the windshield frame is just right in my line of vision. You either need to be standing up or not sitting on the bolster. Now I'm sitting very comfortably. I'm looking through the windshield. Visibility is much more cleaner, and I actually don't have a lot of breeze coming through. So this is kind of a nice position. Putting the boat into a turn, you want to make sure that you look around you before you make the turn. There's about a 5-degree bank angle, but with the bimini up, as you look out the side, you can see that a lot of your visibility is hampered. So you're going to want to pay attention to that and make sure that you look before you make your turn.
When accelerating, the bow comes up about 12 degrees, so you don't want to be shy about hitting the throttle to get on plane and regain your visibility quickly.
I also find that the Bayliner 285 is very sensitive to rolling with the distribution of weight. If we have, say, our cameraman moving from one side of the boat to the other, then the boat puts in a little bit of a list, and I end up chasing that with the trim tabs. I did find that I had to use the trim tabs to bring the bow down. If you do choose to bring the bow down with the tabs, you're going to end up suffering a speed penalty for that.
The 285 seems to have a pivot point just ahead of the windshield, so you want to keep that in mind at docking time. But the big question remains, how will this boat handle at the dock with only a single engine? Well, let's head to the dock and take a look. And we'll put the 285 through all of the scenarios just for good measure and see if this single engine boat is at all maneuverable.
Even if you are a bit heavy-handed at the helm, there's an optional bow thruster that will make things even easier for you. Clearly, the Bayliner 285 is a very easily maneuverable boat, so if you have any hesitations about a single screw and not being able to handle it into the dock, you've just seen forwards, backwards, sideways. It's very easy to do with the single screw. Add a touch of the bow thruster and it's even easier. Just lays up against the dock, nice and gently, pretty as you please. This Bayliner 285 is just as maneuverable as a twin-engine boat with its single engine. Less expense, less complication, equally maneuverable in my opinion. Well, it looks like Bayliner hit the mark when they made the 285. It's a comfortable boat and very nice handling. For Botenkeuze.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water. Let's take a look at the features and see how they've done. Starting at the swim platform, obviously big enough to hold a party or put your tender on. 4 feet 4 inches, by 8 feet 1.5 inches. Inside the aft trunk, storage for life ring, fenders, connection for your shore power cords, battery switch, and ship's main electrical. Notice how it's gasketed all around. The hatch is held in place by 2 stainless steel hinges. Stepping into the boat, the cockpit door locks with a barrel bolt, and there's a notch in the full length of the transom here that keeps you nice and solid inside. That'll hold plenty of pressure should you stumble and fall into it. Cockpit seating is as you might expect in a boat of this class. We're facing each other for conversation. Drink holders to the right, 2 in the back to not only use for these seats, but also when you're out on the swim platform. Underneath this forward seat, there's storage for a removable igloo cooler. And of course, you have the pedestal table base. The table stores underneath the engine hatch. I like the way Bayliner has laid out the engine hatch. Not only do you not have to remove the aft seat, but the Perco latches are very easy to operate. Gas assist struts, so it's also easy to open. Here's your storage for the cockpit table and easy access to the 300 horsepower 350 mag Merc Cruiser. Normally I complain about accessibility in Bayliner engine compartments, but in this case I've got no complaints. Not only is it easy to get into the compartment, but I've got plenty of working room all the way around this engine. Fuel tank is forward, water tank is over to the starboard side, batteries right next to me over on the port side. Easy to get all around the engine for the daily engine checks.
And let's not forget, this boat comes standard with the catalyzed version of the 350 mag, so it's emissions compliant.
Moving forward on the port side, very comfortable lounger. We can face the conversation in the aft cockpit. We can face the conversation with the captain. Facing aft, very comfortable for watching the action off the back of the boat. Grab rail, drink holders aft. Now the seat bolster, I think, is a little hard to deploy. It doesn't quite come up and down easily, so it takes 2 hands to do it. The seat mount itself, you can see that it's got a piece that sticks out right into your legs. I'd like to see the seat mounted a little bit differently, a little more comfortably, and the adjustment for moving it fore and aft, it sticks out even further. The helm is textbook Bayliner. Full instrumentation laid out just like they are on all the other Bayliners. Fuel over to the left-hand side, voltage, engine temperature, oil pressure, trim gauge, an empty spot that's screaming for an optional depth finder, tachometer and speedometer over to the right-hand side. Dash panel has plenty of open real estate for up to 23 inches one way, 9 inches another, so you're going to put an 8-inch display, possibly even 2 in there. Control for the optional bow thruster over to the right-hand side. Just below, lighted rocker switches all the way across. Off to the left, a stereo remote that controls the stereo that is mounted in the cabin. Over to the starboard side, the engine control mounted almost at a 45-degree angle. I would much rather see it mounted on the horizontal. And off to the right-hand side of the helm, nice little cubby hole for storage for the captain's items, control for the head pump out, and high water bilge alarm. Thank you very much, Bayliner. Underneath the helm console, circuit breakers. The footrest is in a comfortable position, whether you're sitting on the seat or with the bolster in the up position. When standing up, I'd like to see a little retractable step that you can just put your foot on. Notice up overhead in the arch, courtesy lights and speakers. Easy access to the bow. 2 sun pads are on the options list. Rails going down the middle for holding on to. Hatch gives you ventilation down below, and I always like how Bayliner makes the bow working area a step down just to bring the rail height a little bit higher on you. All the way up at the bow, anchor windlass, and 2 foot controls, and a mounted davit. Moving down below to the starboard side is a head compartment. It's a wet head, so there's a curtain that will close in the doorway. Over to the starboard side is a dinette that of course converts into a double berth. Over to the port side is your galley with a stereo DVD player for viewing, the swing-out flat-screen television, storage compartment, microwave oven, Kenyan alcohol stove, sink. You have a choice of either a Formica top or, like this, a Corian countertop. The prototype model we're testing here has gray counters, but the production models will have black. Down below, refrigerator, freezer, and storage. Notice how Bayliner offers an optional teak and holly sole in the cabin. And under the stairs, you have access to your sump pump and a wastebasket. Very interesting feature. You don't usually see an enclosed compartment leading into the aft stateroom, but here you have it. Nice private cabin for you. As you step into the aft compartment, you've got 5 feet 9 inches of headroom, moving in 3 feet 3 inches of headroom, and as you get into the berth itself, 2 feet 1 inch. The forward berth measures 6 feet by 34 inches. Well, there's our look at the features and layout of the Bayliner 285. For BoatTest.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.